Hello, babies. Your Mimzie is here. I got another book, and it's my favorite, the little golden books. I don't know why I like these so much. Maybe because they remind me when I was a little girl. And this one reminds me when I was a Girl Scout brownie, a brownie Girl Scout. Because brownies are like little elves that can sneak around and do nice things for you when you don't expect it. So I want to read today, The Elves and the Shoemaker. And here's another one that it's probably been since I was a little girl that I read this book. So, The Elves and the Shoemaker. Oh, I hope we love it. I remember liking the tale. This is one of those tales that gets told by lots of people over and over, and everybody puts their own little twist on it. And sometimes the elves or the brownies or the sprites or the pixies, whatever they're called, are a little bit more tacky britches than other times. Well, we're going to see how good or tacky or sweet or precious these guys are. So, once upon a time. Oh, don't you love when a story starts with once upon a time? Once upon a time, there was a kind shoemaker. Though he worked very hard, he grew poorer and poorer. Ugh, I don't want to work and get poorer. At last, he had only enough leather left to make one more pair of shoes. One winter night, he cut the leather out for shoes, but he was too tired to go any further. I get it. He left the leather on his workbench and decided to stitch the shoes together the next morning. Because sometimes when I go to bed, my sink has dishes in it. The shoemaker went to bed not knowing what he and his wife would do once the leather was used up. Here they are snoozling. They had no money to buy more. Despite their troubles, the shoemaker and his wife slept soundly that night. And boys and girls, that is a blessing when you can sleep soundly and not worry about what tomorrow brings. Early the next morning, the shoemaker woke up and got dressed. Then he went into the shop to make the last pair of shoes. Look at that face. Let's do that face together. That's a good one. My ha-ha does that face good. Once he sat down at his workbench, the shoemaker thought he must be dreaming. He blinked his eyes. He blinked them again. But it was not a dream. On the very spot where he had left the leather the night before, there was a pair of beautiful, well-made shoes, all finished. He is so excited. He's very excited. He called his wife into the shop and showed her the shoes. "They're splendid!" she exclaimed. But when did you make them?" "I didn't make them," the shoemaker replied. "I found them here this morning." Ooh, a puzzle. A puzzle. The shoemaker put the shoes in the window, hoping that someone would buy them. Soon the door swung open, and a fine gentleman walked into the shop. A fine gentleman. He probably drinks his Diet Coke for the haters with his pinky in the air. Because he was a fine gentleman. "I must have those wonderful shoes," he said. "I've never seen any like them. The stitches are so small and delicate." The shoemaker sold the shoes to the gentleman, who paid a very high price for them. That's right, shoemaker. Gouge that man. Gouge him. With the money, the shoemaker was able to buy enough leather to make 2 pairs of shoes. And he had enough left over to buy a soup bone for dinner. Oh, how appetizing. A soup bone. Of course, in this day and age when everybody's drinking bone broth for the collagen, that's probably a great idea. And maybe Mimzie should stop and get a soup bone on the way. I'm getting kind of wrinkledy. That night, the shoemaker cut out the leather, but he was very hungry, and he could smell the soup his wife was cooking. "I'll make the shoes tomorrow," he said, and he went to eat dinner. Just smell that soup bone cooking. Yummy in my tummy. Bone soup. Bless his heart. The next morning, he found 2 pairs of elegant shoes on his workbench. He showed them to his wife. "Who can be making these marvelous shoes?" she said. The shoemaker shook his head in wonder, 'cause he don't know. Once again, the shoemaker placed the shoes in the window. He didn't have long to wait, before the door to the shop swung open. This time there was 2 customers, and they both paid handsomely for the fine shoes. Handsomely. That means they paid a lots of money. Look at there. She is a frou-frou. Look at her. Even her hound dogs are frou-frou. Look at that. Her hound dogs have shoes on. That is something else. I'm here to tell you right now, my hound dogs don't want to have shoes. But look, I got to call your attention to something. We have to discuss this. Look, they've got shoes on their hand paws and not their foot paws. If we're just going to put on one set of shoes instead of all 4, don't we need to put them on the foot paws, not the hand paws? This kind of stuff bothers me. It just eats me alive. I don't know what to say. But I digress. Let's get back to our story. Now, the shoemaker had enough money to buy leather for 4 more pairs of shoes. He is moving up in the world. Things were on the way for things went on this way for some time. Every night, the shoemaker cut the leather and went to sleep, and every morning he found more beautiful shoes on the workbench. The shoemaker and his wife were no longer poor. They sold so many pairs of shoes that little by little, they began to save some money. Oh, yes, the American dream. They are saving some money. Ooh, that makes me a little nervous. She might need to go bury it in a hole. One evening, the shoemaker said to his wife, "It's nearly Christmas, and we still don't know who is sewing all these shoes for us. We cannot go another day without finding out who it is." Dude, don't you know we don't look a gift horse in the mouth? Let it ride, homie. Let it ride. So, together the shoemaker and his wife thought of a plan. Instead of going to sleep that night, they hid behind a curtain in the shop. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. That's very sneaky. At midnight, 2 tiny elves skipped through the door into the room. The shoemaker and his wife watched in amazement as the elves quickly began to stitch and sew. Soon the bench was filled with handsome new shoes, but the moment their work was finished, the elves vanished. Oh, those are fun times. Look at those elves. Of course, we knew what was going to do it because we knew the title of the book. But that's still, look at those fancy shoes. And that's why the stitches were so tiny, because the hands making the stitches are so tiny. That makes perfectly good sense to me. The shoemaker and his wife were astonished. They decided they must do something for the tiny creatures who had been so kind to them. The elves were not wearing any coats or hats or shoes, said the wife. The poor little things must get very cold at this time of year. So the shoemaker and his wife made 2 tiny suits of clothes for the elves. The next night, they laid the little clothes they had made on the table. Then they hid behind the curtain once again. Oh, that was nice of them. Just at midnight, the elves came into the shop. Uh-oh, is this going to be like Dobby? You give the house elves something to wear and they disappear and they don't have to help you out anymore? Look, you got to be real careful with the Fae. They are sneaky snakies. So we're going to try it again. Just at midnight, the elves came into the shop. When they saw the clothes, they were overjoyed. They hurried to try on their outfits and found that everything fit them perfectly. In their brand new clothes, the elves danced around the room and sang a merry song. See them dancing? Oh, they look like little Christmas elves on the shelves. I want to know what they were singing. I need words. At last, the elves danced out the door of the shoemaker's shop, never to return again. I told you. They gave them clothes, and they left. The thoughtful shoemaker and his good wife had repaid kindness with kindness. They never wanted for anything and lived happily for the rest of their days. The end. I just don't love the ending. I mean, it was okay, but I wanted them to, be friends forever. I don't know. Maybe Mimzie's being greedy. As Papa says, be for the needy, not the greedy. But I knew that. I knew when they made them some clothes. Don't you watch Harry Potter? Because when they gave Dobby his sock, he's yeeted. But anyway, that's here nor there. I do love a little golden book, and that one did remind me of my Brownie Girl Scout days. So I just want to remind you of one very, very muy importante thing. Mimzie loves you.